Good evening and welcome to the 716 Playbook, where every play counts. If this is your first time tuning in, I appreciate you coming. I hope I don't scare you away. And if you are a reoccurring viewer, I am so glad that I didn't scare you away and you're back for another episode. Now look, I'm going to be very honest. My brain is not fully here right now. I just got back from a long weekend, short little trip out west, so my mind is just 100 different places. I try to get as much research and stuff done as I could, but everybody needs a vacation every once in a while. So there's just a couple of things. Of course, if you're watching this, you're probably watching it on YouTube, Twitch, or X, because TikTok is currently down right now. I have no idea what's happening with their lives, but I cannot get connected through the platform that I usually stream through. They just won't connect through TikTok right now. It's a huge thing I looked into. I guess it is a platform issue. It's not just me. So I do apologize. But hey, if you're here, thank you so much. And I get it if you could not make it, or if you have to watch the recording later because you plan on watching it on TikTok. With that being said, you can always turn on bell notifications on YouTube, Twitch, and X so that you know if I'm going live. And you can't find me on TikTok. You know that I'm going live on other places. I try to be here at the same time every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We have a lot to get into. Make sure, if you haven't already, that you give us a follow. You go like the videos and you comment. The big thing is commenting, reposting, and interacting. I love interacting with you guys. It does brighten up my day, and it kind of gives me some new perspectives on my favorite teams. So obviously, I love when you guys interact. Also, just make sure you look down below. You can find us on all of those platforms. And on top of all those platforms, what I haven't added yet is Spotify. We are also now on Spotify. You can listen to our recordings. Usually I'll try to have them up probably on Tuesday, maybe not if on Wednesday. But you can always find us on some platform somewhere. The next platform my goal is to go on to is Apple. I would like to be on Apple next. So anyway, so I hope you guys bear with me a little bit. Long weekend, a lot happened, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. Well, it kind of starts off with, we're going to start off obviously with our favorite segment, the Buffalo Bandits. All right, so Buffalo Bandits actually had a back-to-back game weekend. They played 2 games over the weekend. We are still currently sitting at number 1. We are 11-3. I will take it. We are 11-3, and we played 2 games. The first game that we played was against Las Vegas, and we ended up winning 13-10 to clinch playoff berth. And we also won the Tucker Out Lymphoma Cup. Beautiful. Again, we won that cup again this year, and we clinched playoff berth. That is exciting. I believe we are the first team to clinch playoff berth as well. The Bandits were in control for the first 30 minutes of the game, outscoring Las Vegas 11-2. Exactly what I've been talking about since the start. Coming out hot. Obviously, I'm wearing my hat today because I want to give support to the guys. They played phenomenally, and they did a very good job. With this victory, Buffalo has secured a 5th consecutive playoff appearance. Great first half. Amazing first half. The second half was a little bit rough. Obviously, you can tell if we were up 11-2 and we only won 13-10. We allowed 8 points in the second half, and we only scored twice. Buffalo started the scoring quickly, scoring with the first shot within the first couple minutes. We did fairly well. We were up 8-0 before Las Vegas was able to score their first goal of the game. Matt Vince, he had 15 saves in by the end of the quarter. He had 15 saves, along with Byrne and Smith, who each had 5 points. Byrne and Smith have been the most reliable, consistent players on the Bandits team. They have been doing everything correctly. They've been doing everything right. And being able to have 5 points each to kind of, in the first quarter with Matt Vince having 15 saves, obviously all of that together kind of equals a perfect storm. And that's what we got. We got a perfect storm. We had 8-0 before Las Vegas was able to answer back. The second half was a little bit rougher, like I said. It is what it is. I'm not going to go into specifics of how bad it was, because obviously you guys get the hint that we allowed too many points in the second half without scoring. That's the reality of this game. But if you take a step back a little bit, being able to win 13-10 and clinch the playoffs and ultimately get that it's enough. Okay, and also having to look forward to a back-to-back game, it's just not, And also Las Vegas, they had their last 5 points were, at the end. And so, especially when you come to an end of the game and you kind of are in that play spot, some of those last goals are just kind of fluff goals that aren't really game-changing goals. I think they thought it would be. I think they could try to make a run for it. They obviously, scoring 5 late in the game, was obviously not enough to overcome the early deficit, but it was still to kind of get back to closer than we as Bandit fans wanted to see. Bandits ended up, the night celebrating their cup win and playoff appearance on the field, and they would be back on the field in less than 24 hours to play Albany, and we will talk about that game as well. That game was a little bit more exciting because it went into overtime. We ended up losing 11-10, but I say exciting because it was just an overall good game. It was, there's there's 3 teams in the NLL that play in New York, and you have Rochester and Buffalo both being owned by Terry Pagula, and then you have Albany, who's kind of off to themselves a little bit. But yeah, we did fall to them in overtime at MVP Arena in Albany. The Buffalo Bandits, Dane Smith and Josh Byrne both notched their 100th points of the season, and Matt Vince recorded his 11,000th NLL save with 44 saves in this game. I am going to call out the defense a little bit because Matt Vince had 44 saves. I can't put a lot of that on this guy. You can do everything right as a goalie, put up 44 points, and still come out short. So unfortunately, that's how this game ended up being. Some crazy shots. If you have not seen the highlights of this game, I recommend you go out and you look at them. Crazy shots. Chase Frazier opened up the night, scoring. He kind of set the tone for the game, scoring first 1-0. Both games, Bandits score first. That is a very big plus. I'll put that in the plus column of the game because, again, like I've been saying over and over and over again, we have not been coming out strong. And finally, we're 2 games back-to-back in the same weekend. We are coming out strong. That's how I like it. That's what we need. Unfortunately, it was not enough in this game. But again, this came down to the wire. It was back and forth. We were up 1-0. Then we were up 2-1. Then it was tied 3-3, and we were kind of going back and forth for a while. Kind of skipping forward a little bit to try to get to the point of this game where Albany ends up taking it in overtime. Albany scored 3 unanswered goals in the third quarter, which really ultimately hurt us because they took a lead of 7-6. If they didn't do that, it could have been a completely different game. I don't want to play the hypothetical, but it would have been a very different game had we not allowed 3 unanswered goals, in the final quarter. So unfortunately, that is the reality, though. Kyle Buchanan did answer back to the Fire Wolves goal on his own. After the score, then, we allowed them to score twice in 24 seconds to take a 10-7 lead. Okay, there's now 10 minutes left in the game, and Buffalo plows right back. Okay, we score 3 times, we make it 10-10. Albany had the final shot before time expired, but Vince made a massive save. Again, if you didn't see the game, if you didn't watch the highlights, I recommend you go and do it. And then Williams ended up scoring 8 minutes into the overtime to win the game for Albany. It is unfortunate that we could not score to take the game. I'm not even put this against us. We just clinched the playoffs. We only have 3 losses on the season. Being 11-3, I will take it. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it is. And I can only hope that next game will be better. It's usually these tight games too that it's like you can't put a lot of blame on these guys. Of course, you can nitpick like allowing three unanswered goals, kind of unacceptable, guys. But then on the flip side, being able to bring it back and tie it up for the end, is also a huge plus as well. So, not gonna hang my head too low. Walking out of this game, it was still a very exciting game. And I would much rather it be close like this and us come out hard and strong in the beginning than us have to battle through the entire game being down 5-0. I just don't like when we're in that position, and ultimately does not make me feel good when we are, because if I watch that game, I think, how are we going to do in the playoffs if we can't? So, but Bandits are in a prime set place at first seed in the standings to try and tackle the ultimate goal of being back-to-back 3 consecutive years champions in the NLL. And I think it's very possible. Obviously, as a Bandits fan, I'm going to say that, but I think we can do it. So, and again, shout out to Matt Vince for recording 11,000 NLL saves this game. Just crazy. He has had an amazing career. And obviously, when you're that old too, when you're in your 40s, it's stats they just kind of pile on because you continue to play season after season after season. You are just opening up the door for more and more and more. So, shout out to Matt Vince. All right, we are going to move on to the Sabres. Again, I am just going to put it out there, the dumpster fire, the blow up the team and rebuild team. I part of me wants to just go on a rant right now and talk about, the things that upper management does wrong, or the things that we can't do right, or why the coaching is terrible, why players don't feel like they're connected to the team, why there's no chemistry. This team is just not in a good place. Every time, I have hope and hope and hope that maybe we can do something, maybe we can pull something out of somewhere. It just doesn't turn out that way. We won 1 game since I've seen you last. We lost 2 games. We are currently sitting at 28, 35, and 6. It looks like more and more like we're not even going to have a winning season. That's just unfortunate. That's the reality. And like you've seen from the title, Sabres lost any hope of a playoff spot. The odds were down to like 0%, but there was still a probability. There was just no odds there. But now it's pretty much at nothing. There's no coming back. And that's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. No matter how you try to slice it, there's no spot for the Sabres anymore. So, unfortunately, again, that is the reality to this game and this team. We opened it up on Thursday playing the Utah Hockey Club. We lost 5-2. All right. Our goalie, James Reimer, saved 25 shots in this loss. We didn't play Lukin in this game. We ended up losing 5-2. After Buffalo overcame a pair of 1-goal deficits, Utah scored the game winner with 5 minutes and 47 seconds left remaining. James Reimer got his first start in the net for Buffalo since the beginning of March. He made 25 of 28 shots saved. We obviously pulled our goalie towards the end, and then they scored 2 extra shots. One of them was on an empty net, and our own players scored on it. So we scored on our own net. Again, I'm going to be straight with you guys. Throw away your chances of the playoffs, okay, but it just was like it's gut-wrenching as a Buffalo fan to watch your team score on themselves. JJ Peterka re-entered the lineup after missing 3 games with that lower body injury like I was talking about. He did score on a power play goal, and he had a game high of 6 shots, and he had 21 minutes of ice time. So McLeod also scored another goal for Buffalo, and then Zach Benson was scratched due to an illness. So that's pretty much your updates for that game. Again, nothing that exciting except a loss. And then we played the Minnesota Wild, ended up losing 4-1. Minnesota's 3-goal second period was the difference. Allowing 3 goals in the second period was just, again, gut-wrenching. Again, it's just so hard watching this team just come up short. Luukkonen only had 17 of 20 shots saved. Was not a great night for him. We did limit shots, which I will take. A win's a win. But again, JJ Peterka scored in a second straight game, accounting for the Sabres' only goal. Thank you so much, JJ, for being consistent like he has been every single game that he has played this season. Our defenseman, Jacob Bernard-Docker, made his Sabres debut, playing his first game since December 28th with Ottawa. Forward Zach Benson returned from a 1-game absence. Like I said, he was ill. Jack Quinn and Brett Murray were both scratches for the game as well. At this point, pull all your starters, let everybody else play, get some playing time, and regroup for next year. Try to see what you can do in the offseason. Trade away players, trade away upper management, release guys. Try to figure out something to give some sort of faith and hope back to Sabres fans. But I'll also add this snippet. If Terry wants to sell the team, go ahead and sell it. If you want to keep the team, this is the one thing I want to tell you as a Sabres fan. Please make changes in the offseason to upper management. You can't have a GM talking about how they can't figure out a way to get players into the door when they're part of the problem. When there's photos of the owner sitting in the same box as the GM and they are sitting on a complete opposite sides of the box and they have their backs turned to each other, that doesn't really give off the great vibe that the Sabres fans are looking for. Especially when you look at a photo shot, of a Bills game where you have, the owner, Terry, sitting next to Brandon Beane, the general manager, and they are right next to each other. They're drinking together, they're laughing, and they're enjoying the game. You can't let a terrible couple seasons define a team, okay? I refuse to allow that to happen. This team is a dumpster fire. But I refuse to allow the city of Buffalo to completely dismantle away from this team to the point where they don't even. A lot of Buffalo fans just stop watching the Sabres. I don't like that. I don't like to hear that. I don't like to know that. But when you have upper management acting like children on camera, sitting away from each other, maybe you should do something about it because it's obviously not helping the team grow. So that's what I have to say about that. Lastly, we played against the Jets, and we won 5-3. And James Reimer came back in. He had a season high of 33 saves in this game. Career high 4 points from Ryan McLeod. Helped the Sabres take down the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously the game was away. But again, super, super exciting to watch this team win. See, so when the team is winning and they're doing great, it just, even though we can't even make the playoffs, it just gives us something. The Sabres take down the Jets to conclude a road trip 2-2. Reimer did amazing in this game. He was under heavy pressure all afternoon, and he earned his 3rd win of the season. Alex Tuck scored what was ultimately the game-winning goal while shorthanded in the 3rd period. JJ Peterka scored in a 3rd straight game. JJ, again, thank you. 3 games straight. Since the last time I've seen you, you have scored consecutively in each game. And in one game, being the only player scoring. So thank you, thank you, thank you. again, Buffalo Sabres need to make some quick changes if they want to do anything. And the Buffalo Sabres are currently playing right now against the Vancouver Warriors in KeyBank Center. I apologize. That's not true. The Sabres are currently playing right now against the Ottawa Senators. Wow. Got everything mixed up right now. We're playing the Ottawa Senators right now. Ottawa is 37-27-5. They're doing great. They're in a great spot for the playoffs. And they are currently up 1-0. The game just started at 7 o'clock. We have 13 minutes left in the first period. I will look back at this right before I end the live, so I'll let you guys all know. Quickly, because I forgot, the Bandits' next game they'll be returning to Buffalo. They'll be playing the Vancouver Warriors in KeyBank Center on March 29th. That's this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Warriors are 7th in the league, and they are currently 7-7. They're right there in the middle. So we shall see how that goes. But the Bandits could quickly and easily take that game, and they need to if they want to stay one step ahead of Saskatchewan, who is right behind them in the standings. If you want to keep that first seed momentum going, which they need to, they should make sure they focus on winning this next upcoming game. All right, guys. Well, we are going to transition now into the Buffalo Bills, which has probably been a very slowed down version of the Buffalo Bills in this free agency. Unfortunately, it is what it is. We finalized our 2025 coaching staff. We have it pretty much completely filled up, and everything is good to go. So that's good. Being able to bring in new guys under new leadership, having leadership figured out first is obviously a huge deal, because it allows for when we sign new guys, those guys, the leadership's already figured out. We're not adding new guys in later. They have their time to now focus on training camp, focus on the players that are coming through the door, and what we are going to do in the next upcoming season. So, with that being said, the Buffalo Bills have had in the last week a very nonchalant, chill free agency. They have not made big moves. They haven't done much. We saw the big things, I think, already happen. One of the biggest things to keep an eye out for is the cornerback position. There's one guy, his name is Asante Samuel Jr. If you've never heard of him before, he's a young kid out of the LA Chargers, who the Buffalo Bills have seemed to be taking a liking to that entire team. But Asante is a very great up-and-coming cornerback. The only problem with Asante Samuel Jr. is that he is injury-prone. The last thing the Buffalo defense needs is another guy that's going to get injured. So, again, that's why we need to kind of slow down and just jump the bump, like kind of pop up the bumpers a little bit before we just jump to a conclusion of a guy, or make a huge deal out of this. A lot of Bills fans online are so into this guy. I'm not against this guy, but again, the last thing our defense needs is to sign some kid and him get hurt. The Buffalo's defense is already injury prone as it is. If you play for the Buffalo's defense, if you play on the defense for the Buffalo Bills, you're gonna get hurt. That's like almost a given at this point. We just play a very rough style defense, and unfortunately, for some reason, every guy on our team just wants to get hurt, especially if your position has a D next to it. On top of all that, some interesting news came out last week on Wednesday. The Detroit Lions have proposed a new bylaw change that would allow wild card teams to be seeded higher than division winners based on record, which means once the wild card games are over and they've won, it would retransition to best scoring. So it's whoever has the best record. This has obviously been helpful to the Vikings last year, and it could be a factor in future years to come, because the Lions and the Vikings were the top teams in the NFC, but because the Lions had a better overall record in the division with the Vikings sat at a wild card spot, which gave them a very low seed. This way, it would still put the Vikings, if they win the wild card spot, it would put them higher than a traditional wild card spot would be. So that is just something to keep an eye out for and see if, obviously, I think 23 I believe it's 23 owners have to vote on that, so we shall see what that. Obviously, there's already 2. Vikings and Lions will 100% go for that. But with that being said, our Deion Dawkins, who is our O-lineman, he came out on a podcast and said that Buffalo is the best city and that he will never play for another team. I love that. I will take that. It just kind of makes your heart happy to hear a guy who you love to watch play and who's been crucial. He doesn't want to go anywhere, and he's made that very known year after year after year. The Buffalo Bills, if you're wondering what our salary cap space is, we are actually now over. We have $4.4 million in salary cap space. We are now in the green, and we still have $4.4 million of extra pooling cash, and we still have yet to make crucial changes or trades besides Kaiir Elam. So I will take it. Sounds good to me. Being in a great spot to kind of transition ourselves into the draft and see what other changes we might make in the next couple weeks. We are going to talk about this. I am a little upset still. I just don't. I'm gonna give a preference. I'm gonna just put something out there real quick. I am never going to come on here and tear a player down, tear an NFL organizational member down. If it's coaching staff, it's whatever. I might get passionate. I might say a few choice words. I might even apologize probably. But especially if you're a Bills player or used to be, I will have nothing but love for you. But there's a caveat to that statement. You have to be able to show the same love back to the city. And I don't believe that Kaiir Elam did that. Kaiir Elam had some very interesting choice words in his first press conference as a Dallas Cowboy. This is word for word what he said because I don't want to misquote him. Coming to Buffalo, I was a kid that just wanted to improve and learn, really show off my talents, but I was always put in the back seat. I continued to put my head down and work, continued to make plays throughout the season and in the playoffs and stuff like that. I just took everything I learned from there and all the baggage and improvements I felt like I needed to make and just packaged it up and worked on it every day. I don't really see it as a negative. I really just see it as a growing opportunity for me to go shine somewhere else. I'm confident because I'm coming into a staff that truly believes in me. I don't think they would have made the move if they didn't. I feel like everything starts with an opportunity, so if I'm able to come in here and compete and show what I can do, that's all I really would want. I don't need a red carpet or anything like that. I just want to be able to earn it with a fair opportunity. This is what I'm going to say. I don't appreciate how you start a quote with, you put your head down. Okay, let me just go back to the beginning. All right. You put your head down. You were just a kid that wanted to improve and learn and really show off my talents, but I was always put in the back seat. Maybe if you focused more on working, training, and practicing with the team in the last 2 seasons on the Buffalo Bills, we wouldn't be in this problem. Not only that, but he clearly did not improve and grow the way he was supposed to. If you watch the latest Buffalo Bills game against the Kansas City Chiefs in the most pivotal playoff game of probably the history between the two teams, I'll give you this. Kaiir Elam didn't deserve a single snap in that game. At halftime, after we had already known how poorly Kaiir Elam was doing, since he was already filling in for Christian Benford, he was doing awful. And at half, we chose to continue to put him in the game, only for Andy Reid and quarterback Patrick Mahomes to utilize a poor defenseman and toy with him and pick off so many yards just on that side of the field. I can't wait to see what he does in Dallas. I said I wish nothing but the best for this kid. I want nothing but the best. I hope him all the luck, and I still do. But don't go on because some other team traded for you. Don't go on to a press conference and act like you're high and mighty and that some other team now respects you and cherishes you more just because they traded for you. Because there were also draft picks involved in that. Not only that, but I guarantee you that you won't be a starting cornerback on that team. Number 2. And also, Brandon Beane, GM for the Buffalo Bills, wept, got teary-eyed, and actually cried when reporters asked him about the trade of Kaiir Elam. Because Brandon Beane only blamed himself for why Elam was not able to fit in with the team. Why Elam wasn't able to be the best that he could be on the Bills. Brandon Beane took it upon himself to take responsibility. And you have a player who did nothing for us, that did not improve the team in any way, go on and try to act like he was a victim and that Dallas cherishes him more because they traded for him. All I'm going to say is, kid, if you ever get traded again, put the ego in the back seat instead of making it seem like you were put in the back seat. Again, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope it works out with him in Dallas, but I would love it if this kid kept the Bills out of his mouth and he did not act like this because, respectfully, you don't have a moral high ground or a skill set to stand on that tells me that you weren't being truly cherished. Go and watch Kaiir Elam in the Kansas City playoff game. You will see video after video after video after video of a defenseman getting outclassed by a elite offense. And that's that. That's all I have to say. All right. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this because I love my team. But also, I sat there and watched a general manager cry over this kid. And he has the audacity to turn around and say, they never cherished me. They don't care about me. Like that's what he was getting at. That's what we put him in the back seat. We didn't utilize him the way we should have. We did. We put all the faith in you. We put every egg in your basket in a pivotal playoff game, and you failed. And I was never going to put that against this kid. I truly wasn't. But you can't sit there and play victim. I just won't. I as a sports podcaster who is trying to educate fans as much as possible and try to stand on a more neutral zone, okay, when talking about this. You cannot perform the way you did and then act like you're the one in the wrong. Act like you're the victim and that we're in the wrong as a Bills team. So, because of now we're going to transition because I'm done talking about him. It's wasted enough of my own sanity and breath talking about him. Good luck on the Dallas Cowboys. Nothing but the best. Actually had a lot of high hope for you, kid, when you first got drafted. You wanted the playbook in the plane. You were all set. I thought you were going to be a great first-round pick, and you were a bust. So good luck on the Dallas Cowboys. Hope you fit in well there, and hope that Jerry Jones can write you a big fat check so that you can retire and get out of the NFL. All right, Larry Ogunjobi updated his contract. 1 year, $6.69 million, $5.4 million fully guaranteed at signing, $3.4 million in signing bonus. The Bills included 3 void years, allowing the signing bonus to be kind of repositioned at $856,000 across a 4-year span if they wanted to. This is all coming out of the whole he is in violation of PED, which is a performance enhancement drug. So we are losing him for the first 6 weeks. That's his punishment. So in order to kind of reconstruct his contract a little bit before he signed, this is what we got. So that's his official updated contract info. Besides all of that, there has not been much news coming out of the Bills realm. Unfortunately, when asked about extending James Cook and Christian Benford, our running back and our main cornerback, Brendan Bean said, we've definitely had dialogue with those guys. That's probably as far as I would take it. It seems like both players are holding out. When it comes to James Cook, he's asking for way too much money. He will not ever get $15 million a year. And if he does, I will personally come on here and tell you right now that they are in the wrong for doing that. He does not deserve $15 million a year. For Christian Benford, he deserves money. But the problem is he gets injured a lot. So if we can maintain him as a healthy player, he is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. But he can never remain healthy, and that's part of the problem. So I think Brandon Beane is probably very hesitant on him being so injury prone. And what they're probably are fighting about right now is Christian Benford probably wants guaranteed money because he knows he might get injured again. And Brandon Beane says, we'll give you the same amount of money, but a lot of it's going to be made in incentives, which means you have to be healthy and make those stats in order to make that money. And Benford probably is thinking to himself, logically, I want the guarantee money because I probably will get hurt again. That's probably the exact dialogue that's going on right now. As a Bills fan, that's probably what I'm going to assume. But anyway, that is just a little tidbit as well. The Buffalo Bills are headed back to St. John Fisher, the college, for training camp. The dates have not yet been announced, but this is the 24th season that the team will train in Rochester. So there'll be a couple days out of the training camp will be open to the public. I got to go last year. It was a lot of fun. Really cool to watch this team practice. Got a lot of merch, as you see behind me. I got so much stuff, and it was truly a blessing to go watch this team practice before the season started. I remember sitting there thinking, wow, this team, I don't know how it's going to do. We just lost Stephon Diggs. We have all these wide receivers. Who's this Mac Hollins guy? And now look at him. So can't wait to go back probably this year and say the same thing. Think, how is Josh Palmer going to fit in? How is Curtis Samuel going to do his second year? And then hindsight, this time next year, I'll be thinking, wow, it really turned out well. Or it didn't turn out well. But at least I'll know. But besides all of that, again, the Buffalo Bills are not making massive moves in the last week. Again, there'll probably be trades happening. And with that, why I say that is we now currently have our full list of NFL draft picks for 2025. And our picks go as following. Okay, we have the 30th round. We have the 30th pick in the first round. We have the 56th and the 62nd pick in the second round. We have no third round picks. We have the 109th pick, the 132 second pick in the fourth round. In the fifth round, we have 169, 170, 173. In the sixth round, we have 177. And in the sixth round, we also have the 206th pick. We will potentially trade away some of those picks in order to potentially move up in the draft. Who knows? I'm not going to make any hypotheticals about the draft or who we're going to pick, why we're going to do it. Who's this guy? Why did we meet with him? What can he do? What can he bring? How can he fit in here? You can drive yourself crazy and talk about players that potentially will never play for the Buffalo Bills. So I refuse to play the game like the rest of the media is doing. If you haven't already seen, on days that are very slow for media, for the Buffalo Bills, or for Buffalo sports in general, on my social media, I will just be posting a question of the day. It's a way to interact with you guys, hear what your guys' thoughts are. It might not even be about the Buffalo Bills. It might be about the division. It might be about the AFC. It might be about the playoffs next year, who you think the Super Bowl contender might be. All sorts of things. I'm going to ask questions and just answer in the comment section. I will make sure to interact with as many of you as possible. With all that being said, before I wrap up the Bills segment and move on to just kind of some NFL highlights and some things that have happened in the NFL as a whole, which I am kind of gatekeeping one big news piece that if you're watching live right now and you don't know yet, there is something big that just happened that I can't wait to share with you that happened right before we went on live. So again, I will make sure to talk about it, but we're going to finish with the Bills segment and then we will get on to it. All right. The Buffalo Bills roster right now, Josh Allen and Mitchell Trubisky is still our quarterbacks, all right? And we still have Mike White, and we have Shane Buechele. Those are our four quarterbacks, Josh Allen being the first as well. Our running back room looks really great right now. We have James Cook, Ray Davis, Darrington Evans, Reggie Gillum, Frank Gore Jr., and Ty Johnson. Our wide receivers right now, look at Keon Coleman, KJ Hamler, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Tyrell Shavers, Laviska Shenault, and Jalen Virgil. Missing Mac Hollins in there. He's obviously at the Patriots now. 2 years, $8 million deal. I wish we could have gotten done for him, but unfortunately we could not. When it comes to the tight end position, we have Zach Davidson, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and Armani Rogers. Some other fun positions to look at. When it comes to linebackers, we have Joe Andreasen, Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, Balin Spector. When it comes to our D-line, we have Joey Bosa, Dwayne Carter, Branson Dean, AJ Epinesa, Michael Hoyt, Taquan Jones, Zion Logue, Larry Ogunjobi, Ed Oliver, Egg Rousseau, and Javon Solomon, who you will see a lot more of next year. On top of all that, our O-line is looking like Alex Anderson, Spencer Brown, Travis Clayton, Tion Dawkins, David Edwards, Mike Edwards, Richard, Tylen Grable, Kendrick Green, Connor McGovern, Osiris Torrance, Ryan Van DeMark. Our safeties right now are our defensive backs. We'll just do all of the defensive backs together. Christian Benford, Cole Bishop, Brandon Cotterington, Derek Forrest, DeMar Hamlin, Daquan Hardy, Jamarcus Ingram, Dane Jackson, Taron Johnson, Cam Lewis, Taylor Rapp. We definitely need more safeties as well as cornerbacks. Tyler Bass is our kicker. Reed Ferguson is still our long snapper. And Jake Camarda is our current punter. So, solid team, but we definitely need some more defensive changes and probably looking at one more change on the offense in the wide receiver room. Just kind of probably a training camp body and throw them all together and see who is the best. Josh Allen can make any player look like amazing. So I don't doubt anything will happen there. Matt Milano, a little bit to talk about there. He has been kind of pinpointed on different. Matt Milano's been put on different mock trades. Does not mean he's in the trade conversation. It just means that players are enjoying the idea of what we could get out of him. We did just restructure his contract. I have no idea what that means. People think it means something. I'm not going to speculate, but just something to look at. Just kind of talking about that as well. All right, before we transition into the NFL and some of the news behind the NFL, because now there's two big things that just happened. Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm not reading that correctly. Okay. All right. Let me talk about the food for thought before we get into this a little bit. Food for thought. The Carolina Panthers won their division 3 straight times, but have never had back-to-back winning seasons in franchise history, which means that one of those 3 times, which was the middle, the second of the 3 times, they didn't have a winning season, which is crazy to think about, and they still won their division. Also, never having back-to-back winning seasons is really sad for a franchise. Not even going to speculate what that means, but all right. Now let's move on and talk about what has just happened. Well, wide receiver Stephon Diggs signing with the Patriots on a 3-year, $69 million deal. He is going to be joining Mac Hollins in the wide receiver room with the New England Patriots, the biggest rivals, or used to be the biggest rivals, with the Buffalo Bills. Drake May just found himself the best receiver on the market right now. That's crazy. That's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to beat this team twice in a row. Wow. The vision is heating up. You got Justin Fields on the Jets. You got Stephon Diggs and Mac Hollins now moving over to the Patriots. I am excited to see how this Patriots team does. Hopefully, Stephon Diggs does not act like he usually does. But just something to look out for. 3 years, $69 million just happened 9 minutes ago. As well, the Russell Wilson has signed a 1-year deal with the New York Giants. Well, that opens up something. That means that Jameis Winston, who just signed with the Giants over the weekend, will no longer be the head quarterback. I thought he was going to be quarterback 1. He is not. They just signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal, which doesn't really put the Giants in much of a constraint. They're not going to be playoff contenders or Super Bowl contenders this year. But adding Russell Wilson might add some more. There's no risk in this 1-year deal. If he doesn't do well, get rid of him. Don't send him back. If he does well, keep him. That is crazy, though. Stephon Diggs, $26 million guaranteed. $69 million 3-year deal with the Patriots. All right. That is very, very crazy to think about. The Tennessee Titans will now hold a private workout with potential number 1 overall pick Cam Ward. The Titans have become increasingly impressed with Ward. There's been a lot of conversations about them trading Will Levis, who's their main quarterback right now. Cam Ward is a great pick, number 1 pick right now. He is a very solid, strong quarterback in the draft. He is projected number 1 pick. Titans have the number 1 pick. We shall see what they do. If they don't want him, though, they can obviously trade their first pick away because he will be the first pick. They can trade him away, get somebody else to get the first pick, and then go with somebody else. Ravens just signed cornerback Chidobe Awuzie to a 1-year contract. And Miami quarterback Cam Ward said he has pretty much solidified his top pick. So he is ready. On top of that, there really hasn't been like much massive news in the NFL. Jameis Winston, like I said, signed with the Giants, which was actually a really funny coincidence because Jameis Winston, during the Super Bowl media week, asked Saquon Barkley in an interview, he said, who should I sign with, Saquon? And Saquon Barkley turned around and said, I don't know, New York Giants need a quarterback. And now Jameis Winston is now going to the Giants. So interesting. All right, well, with all that being said, we are going to kind of wrap up this show. I appreciate all of you who have come on tonight. Again, there's not a lot to be talking about right now. Make sure that if you haven't already, you check out all of our platforms. You can find them right down below. Make sure that if you haven't already, you turn on notifications and bell notifications. You follow, like and comment, interact with me as much as possible. I will try my hardest to interact with all of you. Shout out to Robert. He has been in the comment section a little bit tonight. I appreciate you, Robert, for coming on, watching me on Twitch, and being a strong supporter. So shout out to Robert before I end this stream. And Robert said, I didn't know you liked football. I don't know if this is sarcastic or not, but yes, I love football. That is the main point of this podcast. The Buffalo Bills, obviously I love the Bandits and the Sabres as much as I can. But the Bills have a strong place in my heart. Again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I don't have everything worked out. I don't have all this news to talk about tonight. Unfortunately, there has not been much, but I have now saved you an extra 10 minutes that I normally would. We have now wrapped this up in 50 minutes, which is a very good show. Solid piece without going over, which is probably my shortest episode yet since I've started. Again, I appreciate all of you, and if you are not watching this live, that's okay. You can still like this video and comment down below. I will make sure to interact with you still, even if you comment this after I've already gone live. So make sure if you're watching this in a post-recording, you make sure to comment, and I will interact with you. Also, we are on Spotify just as another platform. I will make sure to have that icon up for the bottom of the screen for next episode. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for coming on. You guys all have a great night. Go Bandits. Go Sabres. Go Bills.